Welcome to Creative Human, where we have deep dive conversations with creative professionals on how to ascend and how to adapt in a changing world. I'm your host, Tom Martin. Today's guest lives just across the park from me. It's a big park. It's Central Park in Manhattan, and his name is Kyle Gardner. Kyle, born in Rye, New York, is a videographer and photographer, and it's a lethal combo for him. He uses both skills on the regular and for big-time clients. You will know Kyle's work best this year from the Saquon Barkley documentary that aired on Amazon Prime. We talk about the genesis of that documentary and generally how Kyle has talked and hustled and messaged his way into getting all of these awesome gigs and how he's kept them moving forward. Kyle Gardner, welcome to the show. I'm thrilled to have you on. I see that we've both brought our hat game today, and this is why people need to watch this on YouTube or Spotify, because not only do I obviously change out my record collection for every show, which is not a meticulous endeavor. It takes me about 2 seconds. There are little touches that, make watching worth it. So I want to know about the hat in a second, but first, the debut question for anyone who comes on here is, Kyle Gardner, what do you think makes you a creative human?
Well, Tom, thanks so much for having me. This is awesome. I don't usually get to go on podcasts. I usually am recording the podcast, so this is fun for me. What makes me a creative human? I would just say, first off, it is my job at the end of the day to be a creative human. So on a daily basis, taking a lot of photos, making a lot of videos, editing projects. My whole life at this point is being creative and whatever goes with that. So I would say in work for sure, but also just in life, I definitely enjoy, taking street photography, traveling and taking, that kind of content, videos and photos, of landscapes and nature and architecture. So I think that's what probably makes me a creative human.
Because you can just look at spaces and be like, I want to capture this. Like things just jump out at you. Does that sum it up well?
Yeah, I think so. I think actually now that when I think about it, I'm definitely most interested when not in a work capacity. I think I'm most interested in architecture.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I would agree with you, actually. I just got a camera, my first camera I've ever invested in, even a little bit. And I just can't stop taking photos of New York with light hitting buildings in a certain way.
Yeah,
I've been
loving your Instagram stories.
Thank you. I'm literally posting 1 million photos a day, so you have no choice but to see lots of photos from me. Whether or not they're good is a different story. But I feel like with you, and first of all, give our listeners and viewers who aren't familiar with you just an intro to who you are and what you do on a regular basis.
Yeah, so my name is Kyle Gardner. I run a creative services company called Kg Inc. And I make videos and photos and pretty much any kind of creative content for brands, athletes, agencies, pretty much anyone who's looking for content. I help service. And then outside of that, I work with the NFL and the NHL as a LCC and LSC, where we provide game day and live content during hockey and football games, to the league, to the teams, and to the players on the field.
And Kyle, you, like me, are based in New York. I guess you're just outside of the city. That's correct?
So I'm actually on the Upper East Side.
That's right. Okay. I don't know why I associate you with Westchester. Maybe it's because we drove through there one time and you're like, here's a great golf course you can play. And I was like, this man knows.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's where I did grow up. I grew up in Rye, New York. So definitely have a lot of ties to Westchester. We'll be home for the holidays, starting tomorrow. But yeah, been in the city for 3 years now. This is actually my second stint on the Upper East Side. And yeah, I love it here.
Okay, so you love taking architecture photos, but very different from your, it's interesting that you separated that from what you say your work is. And so do you feel like a more business focused and oriented person on the job and just total creative when you're not working? Do you separate those things? Because some people are like, I want to be at my most creative while I'm on the clock. And obviously, like, you're going to do your best for your clients, but do you feel a difference in when you're capturing for work versus for yourself?
I think that's a fantastic question, because there's some shoots where you're following a shot sheet, you're supposed to get certain things. And I think in those moments, I'm less creative because maybe that client is trying to keep you within a box. But also there's certain clients who are like, we love your stuff, we love what you do, and like, we would just want you to go out there and get dope stuff. So I think there's definitely moments where I like feel like I'm put into a box, and then there's also moments where I'm like, okay, like if I were to like write on a piece of paper, like what would my dream be to do right now? Like sometimes it's that, like, for example, like at the Olympics, like, you know, the company I was working for basically was, you know, telling me just go do your thing. And I think that creates some of the best work that I've ever done.
Yeah, it can be so tough to assign that sometimes when you are the one who's hiring someone like yourself and you know what sort of the outcome needs to be. But to be able to step back and maybe tell someone like, hey, Kyle, here's sort of like the playing rules, here's like the ground rules, but I want you to go and kind of put your spin on it here. I feel like a mix is always best case, because then you get the person you're hiring feels like they can kind of do what they do best, and that you actually get what you've wanted out of them all along, versus follow these explicit rules and do nothing else.
Right.
So you are everywhere. I see your work or your Instagram story, and you're at a Rangers game, you're at a Jets game, and then you're also shooting with athletes everywhere. You've really cultivated an awesome client list, and you're at these incredible sports events or places with athletes. Kyle, how did this begin? How did you start to get into this space where, as a freelance videographer and photographer, you've very quickly established yourself with an awesome clientele and just consistent work? How did it all start?
Thank you. I would say it all started in high school. I injured myself. I injured my shoulder, and I kind of got limited out of all contact sports. So I was like, all my friends are playing sports. I'm not doing anything. I want to be with them. So I basically, like, I think I had like a random camera sitting around my house.
Do you remember what type of camera it was?
It was like it's still sitting there somewhere. It was like it was like a Nikon maybe.
Okay.
But yeah, I just picked it up and kind of just started shooting. And it really started in the soccer season. My friend Dennis, who's like one of my best friends, was the goalie, and he was kind of like playing, not as a joke, but like he was just there for the vibes. But like I wanted to hang out with him and like the team, so I was like, all right, like I'll start showing up to the games and taking photos. So it started with photos. Then it turned into like, okay, like we're gonna make an Instagram for the Rye High School soccer team. Then it turned into like, okay, like it's game day. Like I'm gonna start making some graphics. And then from there, it turned into video editing. It turned into, making videos, and then continuing on with photography. So that senior year of high school in 2018 was like, that was like just a crazy year, because I'd never like learned from anyone. I was YouTubing everything. And I didn't know like what the end goal, there was no end goal. The goal was just like, have fun, and like, oh, this is awesome that like I'm just showcasing my friends in like a cool light. And I think honestly at that time I was like, okay, like this is what the Duke men's basketball Instagram looks like. This is what the Yankees Instagram looks like. So I at that time I think I was just trying to emulate that for like my friends.
Some people say, I'm going to learn a new skill, and they don't put the work in. They try it for a couple days and it doesn't get anywhere. You, on the other hand, just kept going and going and going, and you said you didn't have much of a plan. So you go to college, and remind me where you went.
I went to the University of Richmond in Virginia.
Okay, go Spiders.
Go Spiders.
So you get your 8 legs, then you drop them, and you're in the real world. Between the time when it's just all sunshine and daisies in high school, and there's not really a lot of pressure, you're just vibing, learning, enjoying it, to now get out of college. Was the plan in college to do what you're doing now, or did this adjust on the fly?
I think that I like wanted to be like a business major.
What did you major in? Did you major in business?
I majored in film studies eventually.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. But when I was like going there and like before, I emailed like the sports information director because I definitely wanted to continue what I was doing in college. But like I didn't think that it was going to turn into like my career. I was like, I'll be like in finance or something. But then like I showed up and like I had like an economics class freshman year with Dr. Kraft and my friend Max, and like I was like, I'm not good with numbers. I'm not good with any of this. Like I'm not good at math. So I quickly realized that like that wasn't going to be the thing. But yeah, Richmond was fantastic for me because I was looking at all these big schools. I wanted to go to Michigan. I wanted to go to, like all these big schools with huge teams and hundreds of thousands of fans. And I wanted to like do what I was doing in high school there. But like actually going to Richmond was the best possible thing for me because they had a really solid basketball team. They were in the A10, and there was nobody who was doing photography or video or any of that for the basketball team or even the athletic department full time. There was like sports information directors who were like doing everything. And shout out to Jason Vita, who is the sports information director for the Richmond Spiders men's basketball team, who basically was like, yeah, like if you want to come to practice, you want to come to the games, you want to bring your cameras and shoot stuff for us, you can do whatever you want. And like that's where like that was probably one of the most creative times of my life, and I was putting out some of the most creative things I've probably ever put out.
Because you felt like you had like a leash to do it. You're like, hey, you're just giving me a chance to be here, and there's no pressure. Great, let me just try anything.
Yeah. So that's where like I really honed in the skills. I was like figuring out how to actually shoot, what shutter speed was, what ISO was, and how to edit in Lightroom, how to edit in Premiere, all that stuff. That freshman year of college is where I like really, really honed it in, and I just had an incredible opportunity in front of me. We had a really solid basketball team, and they were letting me do whatever. They started taking me on road trips. I was traveling with the team. I got the gear. So that was like the first, like, not like official, like job or like hiring, but like that was kind of where it started to like feel a little bit more real.
You felt like you could make a career out of this if you kept going.
Yeah.
You work directly with so many athletes and teams and brands. I feel like you've got the ability not just to create stuff for them, but you can talk to these people and you can have conversations and instill trust. Do you think traveling with Richmond athletes was a helpful part of that process? In other words, you get to see people up front and just assemble into what that culture is like versus feeling like you're an outsider and feeling like talking to athletes is some gargantuan thing.
Yeah.
Did that help?
It definitely helped because at the time, like and like no disrespect to any of these guys, I love them and like they're awesome and like so talented. But like at that time going in, I was like, oh my God, like these are like the Richmond basketball players. Like I like at that time, like for me, I was like, that's literally like Patrick Mahomes, you know, like
They're like giants.
yeah. And then like I started showing up, like I started making good stuff for them. They really liked it. And then on top of that, like I started hanging out with them, and like those became like some of my closest friends in college. And so like we would like I would shoot the games, and then like we'd, go out after and like go back to their apartment and like there have parties and stuff. And I think that, excuse me, definitely helped shape things because like at the time I was just like so nervous, and I didn't know how to like talk to athletes. I didn't know how to talk to, any kind of celebrity. So that really made me more comfortable. And I think the work that, was done reflected that because we were just so comfortable together. They would, like, when we would go on road trips, like I'd be standing by the bus or the plane, and they'd, give me a wave or like a peace sign. And it just makes the content better when like the people, the athletes or the client or anyone knows you and is like bought into, what you're doing.
Tell me some of the athletes that you've worked with now, like in recent times.
So I've worked a lot with Saquon Barkley over the last like 5.5, 6 years. He's definitely, one of the greatest people and clients I've ever worked for.
And I want to get into the Saquon documentary that you were such a big part of. But for right now, like list me a few more. Just give me a list of who else you've worked with.
Tom Brady. I'm just trying to like think about my Instagram feed right now.
Yeah.
Tom Brady. I'm
gonna look it up right now.
Yeah, wait, hold on. Can I pull up my phone?
Sure, man. I'm looking at your Instagram.
I don't know why I'm blanking. Okay. Tom Brady, Garrett Wilson, Snoop Dogg, Daniel Jones.
For some people, they would have these top of mind. You're like, man, there's been enough projects I've worked on that I got to go back to the gram to make sure that I'm accurate here.
Yeah. Odell, Justin Fields, Dwayne Haskins, rest in peace.
Yeah.
Donovan Mitchell, Carmelo Anthony.
Okay. I'm going to cut you off. So, demonstrably awesome list of people. Did you ever feel with any of them this sense of like, do I belong with this person in this moment? Did you feel any sense of like social anxiety around these titans of athleticism, or did you feel something different?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the first time where I was like super nervous was, so I ended up like getting this internship with Vayner Sports, which like Gary Vee is this like, he runs this like huge media company. I'm sure like people have seen him on Instagram and stuff, but he also has a sports agency. And I like was like a huge Gary Vee guy, like in that 2018 year. Like I would only listen to his podcast. Like I was all in on like his whole like thing, which was just like grind and like DM people. And, the whole DM thing was like pretty much how I've built my entire career is through like Instagram direct messages, LinkedIn direct messages.
What do you say when you reach out?
Just like, hey, I'm Kyle. If you guys ever need any photo or video services, happy to help. And to this day, like I still do that. But like in 2018, my freshman year of college, I DM'd one of their sports agents, Brian McLaughlin, on Instagram. And I'm trying to get to another story, but I'll tell this one fast. So, so yeah, like we DM back and forth, and he puts me in contact with their like content people. But yeah, got an internship with them, and like that was the biggest like moment at that time, because I like got hired for something, and like I was gonna go like work in their New York office as an intern that next summer. So that like
Yeah.
was the start of it, feeling like okay, like this could actually like be like a real career. Um, so they brought me to the Super Bowl in Atlanta, and I was just doing everything. I was shooting like everything for them. And one of the things that we did was we filmed a workout with Tyree Jackson, who is the
Former Buffalo quarterback?
yes.
Tyree Jackson goes down as one of the greatest what if quarterbacks, I think, in NFL history. That dude was so talented. And I feel like if the right coach had gotten to him, then maybe he's still playing in the league a lot longer than he was. I just wanted to talk about Tyree Jackson for about 10 seconds there. So let's get back
Yeah,
to your story.
absolutely. Love it. Shout out Tyree Jackson. He's the best. So yeah, I meet him. We go to this workout facility in the middle of Atlanta, just a football field. And there it was Tyree Jackson, Dwayne Haskins, and Josh Dobbs. And their quarterback coaches Quincy Avery and Jordan Palmer. And that was the first time I'm like doing an NFL shoot. Like I'm shooting these quarterbacks, and like that was where I was like, oh my god, like this is like really cool. Like I'm with NFL players.
Are your hands shaking? Like, what are you thinking and feeling in that moment as you're taking this all in?
I was just so like, I'm not gonna say cocky. That's like not the right word. I was so oblivious at that time. Like I like felt like I was on top of the world, and like nobody was gonna stop like the train that I was on at that time. I was like, we're doing this, we're gonna crush it. It was just like there was not a care in the world. I was 18 years old. Like I had class like a couple days later. Like I was in Atlanta like at the Super Bowl. I like literally just felt like I was on top of the world. And so yeah, I started working with them, made a video for Tyree, for Josh Dobbs and Dwayne Haskins, and Jordan Palmer. And Jordan was like, hey, like this is awesome. Like I want you to come out to like QB Summit, which actually this is the QB Summit shirt.
Heck yeah.
QB Summit was Jordan Palmer. If you don't know, he trains Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Sam Darnold.
It's Carson Palmer's younger brother for those Bengals fans back in the day.
Yeah, yeah. So he now trains all the like greatest quarterbacks in the world in Southern California, and he wanted me to come out and like go film this like whole weekend. So I think when I went there, that was the first time where I was like with like actual celebrities and like famous athletes, where I got there and I was nervous, and then they literally just like treated me like we were friends, and I was meant to be there. And like that moment made me super comfortable. Super long way of getting back to it, but like that moment like made me realize that like, oh, these are not like just the people you see on TV. Like these are actual like people. Like these are real humans, and they're normal just like you are. So I think that that time was like a super big step for me, because I was like, oh, like this is just a guy. It's not, the person that you watch on television.
Yeah, and like if I treat them strangely, they're gonna respond strangely. But if I just talk to them like I talk to my friends or whoever, it's probably gonna do better for you. So you get opportunity after opportunity. Would you describe yourself more as a creative or as an entrepreneur, or is that an unfair question?
I would say creative at heart, and now turned entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Um,
Because there's entrepreneurship for sure in the freelance business. Like you have to go make your own work kind of come to life through relationships that you cultivate. What's
yeah.
been the biggest driver for you to wind up in the position you're in now? What's led to, okay, Kyle gets used to being around athletes, to where you are, where you're having just consistently tons and tons of opportunities?
I think it just kind of spiraled, and like I was meeting I think I like I don't want to like brag or not sound humble here, but like I think I just do a good job of making connections, and like if I'm in a room with someone important, like going out of my way and making sure like I'm networking with them, and like every opportunity that there is to like potentially get new business, I jump on.
Yeah.
And I think, over the last like 5 years, I've done that so much that I was able to just get such a great community now.
How many hours a day or minutes a day do you think you are catching up with people and just trying to network and nurture relationships? Is that like an intentional part of your day? Or do you just, cause like you'll hit me up sometimes and be like, hey, love that. Or, hey, hope you've been well, which is awesome. Like that's not something that everyone who is focused on trying to do shoot after shoot really is able to do. It seems like that's an intentional part of what you do.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more of like a subconscious thing. Like that's just kind of like who I am, is like I just like talking to people and like connecting with people. And I would say like when I'm home like editing, it's not much of the day. Maybe it is like on Instagram and stuff, but I think more of that networking is like when I'm out in the wild on shoots, meeting in rooms that I shouldn't be in, but I am in because I have a camera. Like I think those are the times where it's the most.
What do you shoot on, by the way? Tell us your typical kit and gear.
Yeah, so I'm like a Sony guy through and through. That's why I didn't like having to admit that the first camera was a Nikon. Um,
You didn't know any better back then. You were just getting started.
I know.
And nothing against Nikon.
Yeah, so I'm currently on the A7S III for video and the A7R4 for photo. However, I'm definitely like looking to make an upgrade. And honestly, at this point, for shoots, I'm rarely using my base gear, my kit. Like the only times I'm using my like kit that's like in my house right now is basically just for football, NFL, and NHL. Any kind of client work, not any kind. Most client work, I'm renting an FX6, I'm renting an FX3, I'm renting an A1, I'm renting, different kinds of cameras for different needs for those shoots. So I think my base kit is like solid. It's probably a little bit outdated at this point. It does the job if it needs to do the job, but definitely looking to make some upgrades in 2026.
We got to talk about the Saquon documentary, my friend. So would you say this is the most important project you've been a part of?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
tell us, for those who do not know, Kyle was part of a 5-year project, I want to say, where there was a documenting of Saquon Barkley's journey, and it was a lot of Kyle in a room with Saquon Barkley as he's making decisions, thinking through things, spending time with his family, just a lot of different stuff. And the access you got and like the comfort that we're able to see Saquon in is really impressive, just for someone to capture those moments the way you did. So tell me how that started, and how did it take 5 years? Why did it take 5 years to get to this point where it was finally release time?
Yeah. So in that VaynerSports internship that I was telling you about, I went in June or July of 2019 to the ESPYs in LA. Again, another quarterback workout, another NFL player workout. I show up to a field and I'm supposed to shoot with Kyle Allen. That's like who I'm supposed to focus on. But yep. I show up to the field and it's Saquon, Sterling Shepard, Deshaun Watson, Anthony Barr, like all these crazy players. So I'm getting my great photos of Kyle Allen. Love Kyle Allen. He's the best. But also, like, I'm not going to not take photos of Saquon Barkley and Sterling Shepard, whose jerseys are literally like hanging in my childhood bedroom closet at that time that I'm about to like go home to. So that goes great. I take lots of photos of them, and everyone's hanging out like after the shoot, just like on the benches. And I was like, "Oh, hey Saquon, like, how we doing? Nice to meet you. Like, I took some photos of you if you want them." And he was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, I would love them." Like, and I was like, "Oh, like, how can I like send them to you?" He's like, "Oh, I'll just text. I'll just give me your number. I'll give you my number." And I was like,
You can just walk up to Saquon. There was no agent. There was no someone who was in the way. Like you were just able to walk up to him.
it was literally just like the guys, like on
Yeah,
the. It was a high school field. There was like a bench area, like one
yeah.
bench. They had their water bottles there. It was just the players and like, Ryan Flaherty. He's the head trainer at Nike, or used to be. But yeah, it was just the guys. And so I walk up to him, get his number, and sent him some photos, and he liked them. And I said, listen, like I live in New York, and if you ever need someone to shoot your stuff in New York, I'd be happy to help out. So fast forward to COVID. Saquon and Sterling Shepard hit me up and were like, "Hey, we're basically just going to these high school fields." At the time, this is like literally like maybe late March, early April. The world is literally like a war zone
Oh
right now.
yeah, yeah. It's like, what are we gonna do? And you're like, hey guys, let's talk about this. Let's talk about working together.
Yeah. So
Which
they're
must have
like,
been nice. A lot of people were like, how can I even work right now? Like, what can I do? And you're like, I've got an opportunity.
yeah, I mean, it was crazy. I was like working every single day during COVID. It was insane. But yeah, so the Giants got let out of sorry, they weren't allowed into their facility because of COVID. So Saquon and Sterling Shepard were like, we need to like stay in shape, and like we're gonna go like run routes and work out. And I think at the time it kind of started as like they have someone running video for them in their facility that can like video their routes, and they get them like on their iPad. So at first, like they were kind of just looking for that, like, okay, set up a camera. I just want to see my routes. But also like, I was there, and like I had the skills. So I was like, okay, like I'm also going to take like photos and like make like crazy video edits for you guys. So we came out with like a couple viral videos that summer. Once the world started to like open back up a little bit, and there was rumblings that there was going to be an NFL season. Daniel Jones came back up, and like we started working with him. But we were like legitimately going to high school fields around New Jersey and hopping the fences. And like the police would show up, and like they would always be like, "Oh, like Saquon," like So it was never a problem, because like every time the police, like I think the police maybe would have came once, but like it was never an issue, because it was like, oh, it's Saquon. Like we're not going to deny, like you're my player for my team. Like I'm not going to deny you like a workout. Like you're.
I'm picturing Saquon hopping the fence without using his hands. He's just literally like jumping over it like he leaps over players.
Yeah, and I'm like throwing my camera bag over and like struggling to like get up the fence. Like,
All right, so not a bad time to spend your COVID days on fields with these players, which is an opportunity to kind of showcase them while there's not a lot going on. Like
yeah,
it's a way to stay connected to athletes at a time where there's no athletic competition happening, at least for a handful of months there. So you're getting intimate time with these guys, and they trust you. There's a growing trust. But how do we wind up at a documentary?
yeah. So we basically just started taking I had all this footage just like on my hard drives,
Yeah.
and we go into the 2020 season, and Saquon tears his ACL in week 3, I believe. And also between that time, I got hired by the NFL as an LCC.
Okay.
So it's like week 3, and then I get hit up by these guys, and it's this like production company that is like making this documentary for Saquon, and they literally started filming. Alex Pappas is the director on the documentary. He filmed the rest of the documentary alongside me and Chris Skimmer and a couple others. But he was filming in the hospital when Saquon tore his ACL. So at that time, like they kind of, I don't know, like if there was some kind of agreement or something, but like they got like the go ahead on a Saquon like ACL recovery documentary.
Yeah.
Um,
Which is only
so
supposed to last so long.
right.
It's just supposed to be an ACL recovery documentary. Why was it not just that?
Just were so many intricacies and things that kept happening. His first year back, he wasn't that great, and then, or he was good, but he just wasn't like back to like Saquon form yet. And then like we go into the next year, the Giants are terrible, and he has a great season, and he's trying to get a new contract, and they end up like franchise tagging him, and so that was a whole deal. Like a lot of this documentary was also just focused on the contract and his like relationship with Giants general manager Joe Shane, and stuff like that. So then we go into the next season. He's going to get tagged again, but Joe Shane actually like lets him walk and goes to free agency. And a lot of the documentary is a couple things. One, it's contracts. It's like the running back story. At that time, running backs were getting so devalued, and everyone was basically like, "Oh, I'll just draft a running back in the 6th round and get him for nothing." But after that Todd Gurley and that Ezekiel Elliott contract, people stopped paying running backs. So the documentary kind of became like, oh, this is kind of about the running back position, but also about how Saquon deals with that, and then also his knee injury and his family, and it became a lot of things. But it ended up culminating in him signing with the Eagles, which is obviously a huge deal. And like as a Giants fan, like that crushed me, but like was so happy for him. And he signed a huge contract with them and goes on and has like literally the greatest running back season of all time, wins the Super Bowl, cover of Madden, every endorsement deal on your TV right now. And like, it was a storybook ending for us. But like, there was just like there were so many times and years where like me and like Alex Pappas, the director, would talk, and like we would get a beer, like have dinner, and be like, we have like zero idea where this is going to end, because there's no like good conclusion right now. And so we're just waiting and waiting and waiting. And like, finally, it literally just was the most Disney storybook ending you could ever have for a documentary. And yeah, and it finally came out this past October, and yeah, it was crazy.
Well, the response was awesome. How did you guys? Who financed it, by the way? Like, were you always getting paid like the same day rate to go in? Like, how did you manage to keep extending the life of the documentary and therefore the production, knowing that isn't cheap?
Yeah, I mean, there was a good production company behind it. I can't get into like too many details, but
Yeah.
yeah,
They just kept putting money into it and saying, "Hey, it's worth it to keep going until we have the right ending that we want."
yeah.
Good for them. Good for them. So, are you there when he signs with the Eagles?
So that was like one of the only moments I like didn't film.
Are you glad that you weren't there? Because do you think you would have been like holding the camera and you hear this voice behind it? You're like, shit, he signed with the Eagle. Like,
Yeah.
could you have balanced that? And when that happened, Saquon by this time I'm sure is your friend, but you're a diehard Giants fan. Like, how did you deal with that dichotomy?
Yeah, I mean, I was like, it's so like weird, the dynamics of like my brain, because like Saquon was like, he was like my number one client for so many years. We've been working on this for so long, so like I became more of a Saquon fan than a Giants fan, and so like
Yeah.
I was also like in all these meetings and like hearing like what this GM was saying, and like I started to like take his side, obviously, because like I want him to get paid, like I want his family to like be able to reap those benefits. But yeah, I was like not happy with the Giants, and um, yeah, I basically became a Philadelphia Eagle fan for one singular season.
That's right.
One singular season. He won a Super Bowl. I got them one Super Bowl,
You did.
and now we're back. And but I it's all my friends are disgusted, absolutely disgusted. Like they hate the Eagles. They hate Saquon. Um, and they weren't happy. But you know what? It was a fantastic ride, and I ended up getting to film that Super Bowl and photograph his birthday party after, which was like a legendary experience. Like Miles Teller and Pete Davidson and like all these crazy people showed up. So yeah, we put in our time for a year, and yeah, now we're back to the Giants. But
How what was it like filming all the time? Like for that doc, are you going in with much of a plan, or are you just saying camera, audio, let's get what we get? Like what are you starting each filming session with?
no, that's literally it. Alex, the director, handled all of the interviews, like the
Yeah.
sit down interviews. I did BCam on a couple of those. Um, but yeah, it was most of the time it was just my A7S3, my Sennheiser Lavs, and that's it.
What was the biggest experience, or sorry, what was the biggest takeaway from that experience? What was the biggest learning? Because it feels like such an outlier, like you start in one place and you end in this awesome documentary that gets picked up by Amazon. From all of that process, what did you learn that anyone can take with them, or you can keep taking away as you keep going in your career?
I just would say that, you know, anything's possible. Like you never, if you have a good story in front of you, like go for it. And if you like filming documentaries, then like go for it. And that because there's thousands of creators out our country, in around the world right now, that like are someone's guy or like
Yeah.
girl. And like if you think you have a story in front of you, like you should document it, because people love documentaries and there's so many incredible stories to tell. So I think that, like, this wasn't, we weren't shooting every single thing on an Alexa and like a sound guy and a huge crew for like, Drive to Survive or like any of those kinds of shows. This was like a lot of just like one man band kind of deal. And in those moments, like things become super chill and like relaxed, because and I think the subjects get more comfortable because it's just like you're there with like a small camera. It's not a huge production, and like they could be themselves more than in any of those larger productions.
I was going to ask you about that because I don't know how much of like the big 12-person crew productions that you're on, and you might be on some. Most of what I know you to be associated with is the get the most out of the smaller amounts of resources we have, and like really focus on understanding the people side so that can overcome not having an Alexa 35 or something. How do you tend to like to work? Do you wish you could be on bigger productions like that? Or do you love your potential and building around working with lesser resources, which you might deem sufficient resources? How do you kind of balance that?
Yeah, I think I like both.
Yeah.
Most of my life, like as you said, is me, and just like I'm the only person there, if not maybe one other person. But I think in the future, I definitely would like to be on some larger productions, doing more directing. But I think both have their benefits. On those huge productions, you can accomplish incredible things, and there's needs, for all the crew there. But also, like, on some of these productions, I think those huge crews are like, it's just too much, and like it gets in the way of things. Whereas like if I'm by myself, or like if it's me and like Ethan, who you work with also, or no, we can kind of just go out there and like crush it on like a 2, 3 person crew. And, you know, you feed off each other, you're doing multiple jobs, but you're so encapsulated in the project that the attention to detail is just like so exquisite, because like you have to do a million things, and like if one little thing goes wrong, then everything's going to go wrong. So
what is a piece of advice that you have gotten or heard that you feel is overrated, that you're like, you know what, I keep hearing this and seeing this and I'm just not so sure about it? Do you have one? And the other approach is there an underrated piece of advice that you feel like really holds water that you don't see talked about enough? So either one of those.
This is a great question. You asked me some great questions, Tom.
That's why I'm doing this, my friend. I got a few. I got some tread on the tires.
Yeah.
And take a moment if you need to. I can always edit right here.
Okay. I just like want to say something good.
Well, say something that you believe. And if you believe it, then it will be judged as probably being good. And if you don't believe it, then people will be like, I don't know if I believe what he's saying.
I think an underrated one is just like be a good person.
I love that. I genuinely think any gig I've ever gotten in my life, something has to do with me trying to treat people well. I intentionally make part of how I work with people based around how I treat them and how the experience is for them. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I think sometimes it's not just about did you like the final product, it's did you enjoy making it? And if you have a bad experience making it, you're not going to hire me again. I like firmly believe that. Whereas if you have a good experience working with me and you like the final product, I'm good with that. Like, I'm good with that. I want to make the best product I can, but I don't want to sacrifice the making experience. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's like, that's definitely who you are. We've worked on 2 great projects that come to mind: the Home Alone pizza trophy at the Plaza and the Up the Cherries project. 2 of some of the most fun I've had on production, and just like good vibes all around. Like not a lot of like, not like there was no pressure. Just like I felt very comfortable, and it was just a great like working experience. But yeah, I think that at the end of the day, like I also agree, like I'm not by any means the best in the world, but I think people, like if you are like someone that people like hanging out with or being around, you're gonna get hired way more than if you're like like the best, but like you're just like a dick, or like you're mean, or I don't know, just like a bad hang.
There was someone who I won't name any names, but he told me like he's on the marketing side at a major organization, and he hires out crews. And he said there was a shoot he did, and he hired someone whose work he really respected, and they show up in just like honestly like a inexplicable, unacceptable attire to this shoot. Like what they were wearing for this shoot was so wrong. And the guy could have made something incredible. But my friend, who's the marketing director, was like, that almost immediately, before I ever saw a single frame, put me in a bad state of mind about this person. And you can't predict that. But I guess my advice would be for anyone listening is think about and be intentional towards your client's interest as much as you want to think about what you need. And usually it's just a good balance that leads to something really, really good.
Yeah.
But whoever it was who he hired just literally X'd themselves out of ever being hired for something similar by that person again, just by not reading the room. So, Kyle, I want to ask you real quick about your hat. Before we talk AI, what's on your hat? What is that?
This is an LA 86 Olympics hat, but like a newer version. This is Sam the Eagle. So he was the mascot of the 1986 LA Olympics. I love the Olympics, so any kind of Olympics related gear I can wear or put on, I do.
Okay, so before we talk AI, with your Olympics experience, remind me, you went to Paris and you were there for how long?
I was there for 3.5 months.
3.5 months in Paris. And are you taking photos, videos, a mix?
Yeah, so I got hired by the Paris Olympic Committee to help run their English content. Um, so
How
they
did you
were
get
the
the gig?
uh, stalking them on LinkedIn.
Man, no, I respect the heck out of it. So,
Yeah,
okay, what was the message you sent?
I I applied to the link,
Okay, but you
but all
followed up on LinkedIn.
yeah, I DM'd like all of their current staff and was like, "Hey, I'm Kyle. This is my work. I like the Olympics have been like the biggest dream of mine, and like I would love to like have a chat if
That
you're."
matters. Dude, want to matters. If you can exhibit want to, people hiring appreciate that. It's like, oh my gosh, that makes up for all these things that I couldn't foresee coming because I know this person will want to be here and therefore do a good job and try hard.
Yeah.
So, okay, that's awesome.
I also just was like, I asked my boss, Philip, who like we spent 3.5 months together and it's just like the end. And I was like, what did you like think like after you saw the DM? And he was like, he was like, I wasn't so sure about you. Like, he was like, but you were the greatest like person I could have brought in, and I was like, oh, thank you. But like, like there's just a different culture, and like I think I don't know. I'm glad they took a chance on me.
The what was it like to be I'm going to rephrase this question. I'm going to edit this. Edit. Um I have something I want to ask you about that experience. Okay, you shoot the Olympics. You're gone for 3.5 months. It's this incredible experience. You have photos you can look back on forever. You come back to the United States. How do you keep going after that? You've done the greatest thing ever. What do you follow up the greatest thing with? Did it energize you? Or did you go, how do I ever live up to that again? Did it change your perspective? What was it like on the back end of such an amazing experience?
Yeah, there was like a little bit of like a depression. Not like I wasn't like depressed, but I was like, oh
Sure.
damn, like what could possibly be next? Like this was the greatest, might go down as like the greatest, most beautiful Olympics in history. Like I took some of the greatest photos that are like sitting around my apartment now that like I'll ever take in my life.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was like tough because then it's just like you're going back to like New York and like you're hanging out with like your buddies from home and they're just like, oh hey, like you're back, like congrats. Like we're like just back, back into more normal life. Um, but yeah, it was definitely like hard to follow up, and I think it will, be very hard to follow up in the future. And I'm hoping that I'll get to work on some incredible projects, in the future. But it was like I can't like overstate how much of an incredible experience it was, truly.
I remember when Bubba Watson won the Masters, he was asked about that experience. And he's like, well, you win the Masters, and then the next day you wake up and you got stuff to do. Your life goes on, you know? And to me, like the takeaway there is for all these goals we set and these end games we want to work towards, there's really one end game in life, if you think about it, not to be morbid. And the rest of it is there's always a next thing. So I'm a big process guy. I love thinking about process rather than thinking too much about end goals because I'm sure there's so much you picked up on and learned from being in that spot and being in the Paris Olympics that will make your and has made your work after that better. So it's just awesome that you got to be in that role. Let's talk about AI. we have not talked about AI together. I have no clue how you feel about it, how you use it, how you think it's going to impact the future of this business. So let's start small. How do you use it on a regular basis, if at all?
You want me to be honest?
Be as honest as you want, man.
I use AI to make funny graphics for my fantasy football league.
Okay, that's maybe the best use I've heard so far.
Yeah.
Do you use it in a professional capacity? Not that that's not professional.
So
That's
I've
professional friend trolling.
yes. So I've used Topaz, which is like a frame rate extrapolator, which is really cool.
Such a great
So
example, by the way.
you can put 24 frames video and turn it into 120 frame per second slow mo, which is like really really cool, and I think that's awesome. I think that's awesome because it's like, although it's somewhat fake, it's coming from real things. And what's to say that like I didn't just take, like I could have easily taken that clip in 120 frames per second, but like I just, maybe that's not what I was shooting in that moment. So I'm not like, I think that's fine. Going forward, I think there's definitely going to be a lot of replacement in terms of like, you know, people are, video editing is going to be a lot automated, there's a lot of things that are going to be automated. But I think at the end of the day, a lot of like, B-roll things are going to be like, if you're taking B-roll, if you're taking not drone stuff, but like if you're taking, I don't know, like cityscapes, like that stuff's going to be automated. But at the end of the day, I think if you're doing photo, if you're doing video, if you're doing interviews in real life with people, there's no way of replacing that. There's going to be tools that help us on top of that. But like the real human connection, the documentaries, all of that kind of stuff, I don't think is going anywhere, just because also like if you just like look on Twitter or if you look on anywhere and you see if like a team posts an AI video, or like if anyone posts an AI video, people are starting to like hate on you. They're like, what is this AI slop? So like I think
Mac McClung and the Pacers, we're not looking at you.
exactly.
That was
Exactly.
tough.
Yeah. But like, I don't know. I think at a time where we're becoming the most technologically advanced, I think that like people are starting to like go, like if you look at it like a bell curve, people are starting to like go down the mountain a little bit and be like, we want to return back to like more art, more creativity, more like human connection. And who knows like what will happen in if when we're in the year 2045, what that looks like. But I think people are getting a little bit sick of, being so glued to your phone, and like technology is just like a constant, that I think, real art is on its way back, which is a good thing.
I think that for AI to have been marketed first and foremost really as a creative wonder, because it's obviously coming for the legal profession. It's coming for all kinds of professions, and for certain things it will be an incredible asset. But for the creative profession, and one of the kind of theses of this podcast even existing is, wait a second, aren't these tools going against the whole reason why people watch things, why they love a good photo? I mean, gosh, you can generate a photo all you want. The recent trend that I love that people are dunking on is, let me take a selfie with all these amazing figures over time as if they're on like a big shoot together. Have you seen this?
No.
It's like, hey, I'm holding my phone up and like there's me taking a selfie with like Marlon Brando and then like Al Pacino and then like Julius Caesar or whatever. And
Okay.
it's mindless crap
Yeah.
because you didn't do it. So what are
No.
you bragging about, right?
No. Yeah, it's a joke.
It's a joke. I am curious where you think going. So, like, I think we can agree there are obvious things that are just not going to pass the smell test with humans that will hopefully disinterest larger companies from promoting those and investing in those tools. Tools like Topaz rock. They make what you're already working hard on better.
Mm-hmm.
And But you talked about how editors might be displaced a bit. How do you see that? And by the way, I say this every time we have someone on. Kyle, you're not an AI expert. I'm not an AI expert. We're doing our best to just guess as we go because that's what the world is right now.
Yeah.
But in your opinion, where do you see displacement potentially taking place in that specific field?
I mean, this already exists, not at a good place, but like I feel like in the next 5 years, I'm gonna be able to get done with a shoot, put my card in, throw it into AI, and type in create an event recap. I want at clip 031 from 5 to 8 seconds. Make sure that's included. Okay, there's this person in there. Let's get her in there 4 times. Like, I feel like you're going to be able to easily automate video edits, and they're going to give you different styles and text and like.
Will you enjoy your job as much if that's what you're doing?
I mean, I'm not saying I'm going to do it. But
No. But sorry, if that was the way it went, like let's say that logically makes the most sense, is to be like, hey, I can save time and I can just give this to them and it's going to do a better job. Would you enjoy the job as much if you removed some of the tedious parts of editing and just handed all of it off?
Yeah, honestly, just like, I don't know if I've ever said this like publicly, but I like don't enjoy video editing that much.
Yeah.
Like, most of my life right now is taking videos, dumping them to an editor, and then when I do photo, I love photo editing. I could sit and edit photos for hours and listen to a podcast or like music. But yeah, I think that I would definitely enjoy the video editing aspect more if I could do that. It's not something that it's definitely a tedious task. I'm not sitting here being like, oh yeah, like I can't wait to clip that down or like mask this. Like, it's not a fun thing for me. The thing that I love about my job and like my life is that I get to go out into the field, into nature, into, crazy places. I'm on the move. I'm walking. I'm not sitting behind a desk and like actually going out and like being creative and like shooting those things. But I don't love the editing process that much, honestly.
My fear is that someone who loves editing but doesn't like to shoot like you and doesn't like to be in the field. It could be a lack of skill, a lack of interest. Maybe they're a very shy person, but they still want to create. My fear is that they would take AI tools to make up for that and say, I'm going to generate scenes. I'm going to generate things that I could have otherwise been in charge of shooting, but then I'm going to do the part that I like, which is editing them. And I wonder if we're going to be in this moment where we have a lot of people, because it's so true. The thing that you want to offload most to AI is the thing you don't like to spend time on. Right. Totally. Which, if you have enough people offloading enough things within this field, suddenly it dilutes and dilutes the need, in the eyes of budget holders maybe, to spend money on those things. It's almost like, let me hire someone to do something who doesn't like to do it because I might be able to pay them less and they'll use these AI tools and I'll still get the same quality. Now, you and I would both agree, if that is your strategy in the content game, you will lose, because I think you want people with passion for something creating something for you. And even if you don't love the tedious parts of editing, dude, like the effort that you put in to get great shots where your relationships and the way you see things can influence the type of shots you get that then make it in the edit, that's still someone getting Kyle Gardner's passion for something to come out via the content quality that you produce. Yeah. So I don't know. It's such a personal question for every person I talk to about this, because everyone has different interests. I used to shoot all the time. I don't anymore. So I'm sure there's a part of me that's less sympathetic to things that are replaced via shooting than the parts of editing, which I like more. But I don't want anything to be replaced, is my take. Right. 'Cause it kind of goes against why all of us got into this field in the first place. So my hope is it's more tools like Topaz and more things like the Adobe Podcast Enhancer to help audio be better, There's these things that help if you want to take those shortcuts, but I'm not advocating for getting rid of audio ops. In some ways, you need audio ops more than ever because of all the content that people want to capture in different places at certain quality. So I tend to ramble a bit, Kyle, but that question and that conversation it can go so many places, can't it?
Yeah. I mean, also, I think just at the end of the day, just like a point I wanted to make is that I think I'm like pretty against government regulation on things, but I think that there needs to be some kind of like stamp on every single piece of AI content because things are getting so good. The deep fakes are getting so good that like, you know, things are going to be indistinguishable. They are now,
They
but
are
like,
now.
it just seems like a no-brainer that like if you're one of these AI companies, if you're forced on anything that's produced, that there's some kind of stamp on there or like metadata that's like this is AI.
Yeah, I do think it's going to be the metadata side. Oh man, I was just listening to something. Okay, I found it. So it's this New York State Assemblyman. His name is Alex Boris. So topical because we're in New York State. But he was talking about AI regulation, and it's tricky, right? Because you don't want to have regulation that sets precedents that are bad for other things, but you obviously do want a common sense approach to prevent things like deep fakes and just intentional manipulation of people. It's not a good thing. We can both agree. We can all agree on that.
Yeah.
But Alex Boris is talking about a past. Every time I wonder about AI, all you have to do is go find something else in history that is sort of similar, and you can see a path forward that humans have already charted.
Yeah.
So I thought Alex made a really good point. He's talking about how in the 90s, he said that the consensus was you would never have internet banking because you could never guarantee if the computer on the other end was reputable and secure. And
I
then
saw this clip.
Yes. Okay, good. So you move from HTTP to HTTPS, and I'm not an expert in this by any means, but the general takeaway is you can use structure and frameworks to better the way forward for responsible innovation.
Right.
And so he's saying, let me see if I can fast forward. I have the clip up right now, even though I don't want to get hit with like using someone else's clip. But there is a metadata standard called C2PA where you can use this and attach it to any standard file format, and it proves that this thing came from where it came from.
Right.
And I don't know if the answer to AI content is putting like a Sora marker on all of it, because there'll be all these things that just undo the Sora marker. But if we can build in the frameworks of, hey, if I am curious to look up where this came from, or if I'm curious to verify it, then I can see it right here. Because what Alex smartly points out is the answer is not to get humans better at trying to guess with their eyes if it's real or not. That is not the way forward. The way forward is give humans an opportunity to verify for themselves what this thing is and where it came from and how it was made. And then hopefully, Kyle, to your point, there is more increased value in the long run on, hey, this is made by humans. I appreciate that. That is now more nourishing for me. It's like reading nutrition facts. You know? It's like McDonald's, dude. Okay. But then you go to Pura Vida and you find out that their tuna sandwich actually has more fat than a McDonald's burger. And you're like, oh my God, like what the heck? I
saw that.
But you can verify.
Yeah.
That was basically a deep fake for healthy food.
It was, correct, yeah.
So, okay, that's a lot from me. What do you think about all this?
Yeah, but like now I'm just thinking like, okay, like what if you just screenshot it? Or like what if you screen record it? I don't know. Like that's my dumb brain thing. I don't know. Like
not a dumb brain. No. I think there needs to be equal weight put forward towards protection against these things, as much as there is weight put towards blindly innovating. You know what I mean? Technology has always been part of the doom of humans. We always get in our way. But it's also an incredibly exciting thing. And Yeah, I just think that there hopefully is enough of a coalition of people out there who are going to look at making this responsible, and not just around content, but just around everything with AI, so that we can all chart a path forward that's a positive use of this versus strictly falling under what's the best business interest, because business interests don't always take human lives into account.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kyle, we're coming up on an hour 15, which is like freaking awesome that it doesn't feel like that at all. I hope the same feeling is felt by the listener.
That's crazy.
I'm curious if you have any other final takes on AI before we wrap things up.
Any other final takes?
Or just where we're headed and where we're going and how you are going to be thinking about the business moving forward as you extend your career and try to continue your career in the ways it's flourished so far.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's so many great uses of AI that we can use that are not creative, that can help our creative businesses and operations and life in terms of invoicing, expenses, all the, back end administrative work we do, all that stuff. I'm excited that I'm not going to have to do as much of that stuff in the future because of this. Because at the end of the day, you want to be creating as much as possible. My life right now is 50% creating, 50% running a business, figuring out taxes, chasing people down for invoices, all that kind of stuff. So when you see companies like Ramp and all these new platforms that are, helping to automate those annoying tasks, I think that is super cool, just because that just makes me think that in the future I'll be able to just do my thing as much as I can and not have to deal with all the other bullshit.
I've told a lot of people I don't think I could have gone freelance now without. I could have, but I'm enjoying being a freelancer much more now thanks to Gemini, ChatGPT, these tools that can help me on the stuff that is to your point, back end. It's the term is they are enablers. They enable me to be able to focus on the stuff that I want to spend more of my time focusing on, and therefore my clients can get the best of what I can offer because I'm not spending way too much time on bills.
Right. Yeah.
Kyle, before we go, give me a creator who you want to shout them out. You've seen their stuff. You really appreciate what they're doing, whether it's someone who's well-known and you just want to join the bandwagon, or if it's someone who we need to know more about, who we don't know much more about. Gas someone up for me.
Sharif Fennel, who is now Saquon's personal photographer down in Philly.
Yeah.
He's incredible. He is coming out with some of the best images, most beautiful football images that I've seen. And he's another self-starter, self-taught kind of guy who has just been doing his thing, and he's a great guy and he's been killing it. So shout out to him. Shout out to my friend Ethan Byrne here in New York, who, we do a lot of work together, and he's just a great guy to work with, super talented.
I can also vouch for Ethan.
Yeah.
Hire Ethan if you're in New York, along with hiring Kyle.
Yeah, hire Ethan and I together. Yeah, he's great. There's just so many this is a tough question because I love so many people. But shout out those guys for now, and all my people know I love them. So if I didn't mention you, I love you too.
Yeah, this is not a shaming podcast. This is simply first couple names that come to mind. Kyle, appreciate the time, man. It's always great to catch up, and obviously enjoy working with you whenever we can. But most importantly, just congrats on all the success and the ability to really, again, make a name for yourself as someone who is just a great person to work with, who's got such credibility with your past work and your past client list. And enjoy your holiday season. This will probably come out just after the holidays. But yeah, man, thanks again for coming on.
Yeah, thank you so much, Tom. Obviously, it's been an absolute pleasure working with you this year and in years past. And yeah, just thank you for letting me come on and telling my story and asking me questions that I haven't even thought about. So I love the AI talk, and yeah, this has been super fun, super refreshing, and just excited for the future. And yeah, keep killing it, man. And thank you so much for giving me a platform.
Much appreciated. You can follow Creative Human at Creative Human Pod on Instagram. Please subscribe on YouTube. Please follow us on Spotify. I recommend watching for the hats and the records, mostly the hats. Kyle, thanks again. And listener, thanks for listening.